Get this sports podcast party started, all right?
The J Reels Podcast.
Why don't you wait until July 1st to make an announcement? What a disgrace. He can rack up all these numbers in October, November, and December, but what really counts is let me see this in January.
The sports rebel without a pause, delivering fast-paced, jam-packed sports talk like no other.
Listen, I got to call it as I see it. He is not a good player. I'm sick and tired of having to deal with the disappointment of this franchise. When does it stop? And yes, another winter that I can sleep in peace. Coming correct, directed, in full effect. Let's get it.
This is the J Reels Podcast. Welcome aboard.
What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic, in excellent spirits as we get through the middle of July. And before you know it, it'll be August. But let's put a pause on that. There's still plenty of the month to be had, as well as what is going on in the world of sports, as I got you covered here over the next hour or so, as this is the J Reels Podcast with Joe's J Reels. For my first timers, welcome aboard. And for those who've been banging with me going back to the very beginning, somewhere in the middle, even as early as this past Monday, I welcome you guys and gals back. And before I even get into the sports, I just want to make a quick announcement. Really, it's more of a mea culpa, because yesterday on the live stream, high noon every Wednesday Eastern time, as I have more of a back and forth with the people that come on live and populate the chat room and get into it with comments where we argue, disagree, agree, debate, and so on. Well, yesterday I know it was kind of let's say, underwhelming. So what I need to do is pick it up even more today. Not to say I wasn't pumped up, ready to go, but I guess because with the way the sports world is now ready to shift, obviously baseball's in full bloom and the quote-unquote second half begins tonight, which I'll touch on in a matter of moments. The World Cup is coming to a close, which I'm going to get into that, especially what happened there yesterday down in Atlanta. And then you have the last golf major of the year, which is right now taking place. And I'll get through the top of the leaderboard momentarily. But it's one of those things that as I was going through all of the hot button topics throughout the course of the day yesterday, and then realized that it was about an hour or so in and wasn't much else to talk about. So therefore, I felt like it ended flat. Didn't really have a lot of the verve and a lot of the passion, especially toward the back end of the live stream. So I just want to say, for those who tuned in yesterday, my apologies. And please leave a comment. I will talk more about what it is that's on your mind at the back end. I want to get through my stream of consciousness first of what's going on in sports. And again, this is the podcast that comes at you every Monday and Wednesday for those who are hopping on board for the very first time, especially on YouTube, later to be put up on Spotify as far as the video portion is concerned. But the audio, whether you do listen to it on Apple or Spotify, as you're listening to me there, I sincerely appreciate all of your support. And yes, there goes my guy Cole. Let me throw him out there. Not allowed to talk about sports right now, I agree, but we'll get into some things and get into more comments as we move it along here. But I want to start off with the baseball, because I truly feel in my gut, and Waffle Iron, shout out to you, a.k.a. Rhoda Penmark, Fuqua Johnson, a.k.a. Dad Ships, Everyday Mets. He's got a bunch of AKAs, people. So Waffle Iron, Walrus in the house. And I'll get to that comment a little bit later, so bear with me on that. I want to start off with the baseball here. I think baseball is in a very tricky position right now. And when you take a look at what has transpired here over the last really a couple of weeks, dating back to proposals that have been put out, which I touched on briefly, whether it's the player side, the owner side, and as we are right now, granted that discussions are taking place, and that's a good thing. Now, as far as progress goes, I think it's more regression than it is progression. But this is a very tricky time, because the baseball season after the first month, and remember, when you go back to last year with the World Series and how that concluded, Game 7, all-time great, etc., the WBC, which I got wrapped up into, and I thought it was fascinating to see how that tournament unfolded. And then you had the start of the baseball season, which had some juice and had some legs. But once you got into the month of May, and especially in certain parts here in New York in particular, that was forgotten. Even though the Mets were awful, they had that 12-game losing streak in the middle of April, and the Yankees got off to a flying start. And I understand that the American League has been atrocious, although a little bit better as of late, but certainly not anywhere close to what we see in the National League. Then you've had all this labor discussion that, again, I understand that it's being talked about, which is better than the owners and the head of the union right now is Bruce Meyer not talking about it, that they're being mum, tight-lipped, like, oh, I don't know what's going on, or, oh, I understand we still have till December. Please, any type of discussion is a positive. But here's what I'm talking about as far as these next few months being very tricky, because baseball really needs to have a better, not only second half, but even a better conclusion. And that means October than what we had last year. I mean, think about that. It's going to be hard to top a final couple of months where, yes, the wild card in the American League, I'm sure it's going to be topsy-turvy. And the National League, not so much. But when you go into October, and no matter which teams are going to be standing, and we were thinking in the National League, you're going to see Atlanta, you're going to see the Phillies, you're going to see the Dodgers, and the Brewers. Those are going to be locks. In the American League, I expect the Yankees and the Rays to be a lock. Chicago, Cleveland, we'll wait and see. And the AL West, your guess is as good as mine. One day, not a week, could be Seattle, it could be Texas, or it could be Houston. But this is why they need to have a robust second half as well as a better October. Because if they don't have anything that's going to equal or even top what we saw in 2025, where there's going to be a bigger sense of urgency for the players and the owners to come to some sort of agreement, because once you get to December 1st, that's when Armageddon begins. And not that I expect them to, let's just say for argument's sake, you have a great last 2.5 months of the regular season, pennant races all over the place, battling for divisions, etc. I get it, NOS not included. But then you get into October. You have compelling wild card series that maybe you get a couple of the 4 series, get to a third game. You'll have division series that will be riveting, a championship series that will be at the edge of your seat. And if the World Series could come close, I don't know if it's going to top, but come close to what we saw last year, then the players and owners are going to have some sort of agreement by March 1st of next year. And even before that, I would say February 15th. Because let's just say for argument's sake that they get to March 1st, and it's a scenario where, all right, well, now we got to push the season into the middle of April. We got to cram a spring training. We got to stretch out these pitchers' arms. We don't want to have any injuries when it comes to the starting pitchers. And you don't want that. So to me, February 15th is a deadline because a lot of the pitchers and catchers will report somewhere around that time. And therefore, you can have a season that's going to start on time. Because as you know, the regular season starts as early as March 25th. This isn't a thing where, all right, April 3rd, April 4th, and I guess they could still do it where they could push the season into November, but that's the last thing they want to do because they don't want to compete with the NFL smack dead in the middle of the season, and even college football where the season is going to be 2/3 completed at that time. So that's why baseball, and I had to get that right out of the gate, with the season beginning tonight, you only have the one game Mets-Phillies, which is going to start off, which I kind of like as a standalone game. Mets-Phillies will not play tomorrow as the rest of the baseball schedule will pick up from there. But there, and when I mean there, I'm talking about MLB and everybody from the top all the way down. They're in a very precarious predicament here. And let's just say that it doesn't come close to last year. I didn't want to go as far as saying it falls flat on their face. Imagine you have a, dare I even say, a Tampa-Milwaukee World Series. If anything, that's going to benefit to the Dodgers, the Red Sox, et cetera, for them to not have a salary cap, because if you have Rays and Brewers as your World Series, they're going to say, well, hey, 2 small market teams, and they made it, and you guys want a salary cap? But if you have Dodgers, Yankees, and let's say it's another 5 or 2 years ago it was 5 games, but a 6-game series, and the Dodgers prevail, and let's say they get Tarek Skubal at the deadline, then people are going to be out of their gourd to say this is why you need a salary cap. So I'm just bringing this out now before I get to what transpired earlier this week. And I touched on it yesterday a little bit on the live stream. And then to take a look into the crystal ball. But I had to put that out there because this is a receipt, which is longer than a CBS receipt, that we're going to have to look back on. Let's say maybe when we get to about game 5 of the World Series, if it gets to a 5th game. Because on this day, July 16th, when we're in the middle 3 months from now of an October where we're trying to crown a champion, we're going to look back at this opening to see whether or not baseball has had this epic 2.5 month and big time October, or is it going to be ho-hum, kind of meandering to the finish where, yeah, I understand it's going to be interesting with a few teams in the wild card hunt and who's going to qualify, etc. But where we stand 3 months from now is going to be imperative to how this is going to transition into the offseason. And I had to start off by saying that. So that's number one. Number two, the All-Star festivities, I didn't watch a nanosecond. And listen, it's justified by what we saw there Monday, but more so Tuesday night. And I won't harp too much on it because I did talk about this yesterday in the live stream. But I do have to say, the MLB All-Star game is unfixable. Bad enough, it's unwatchable. But there's no way to fix it because you can't go back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s and even replicate anything close to what we saw when it comes to the All-Star games then. I get it. It's a different world. It's 2026. We got to evolve, so on and so forth. All right. I get that. But let's face it. With the genie out of the bottle and there's no way to put it back in, and with players that, yes, they want to be named All-Stars for whatever clauses that they have in their contracts, not that they need the money, but let's just say you have a guy like Cam Schlittler when he first came on board that, hey, maybe they threw in a bone that you'll get a $100,000 bonus if you make the All-Star team. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but let's just say for argument's sake. I'm sure, all right, yeah, I'm happy to be there, but come on. He didn't even get to pitch in the game. And when you have all-stars that aren't really bona fide all-stars, it's pretty much a very good National American League team. And yes, we understand that the vote getters, the top vote getters are going to get in, but it's not as if the rest of these rosters are guys that you would think they're going to be multiple all-star selections down the road, whether by the fans or by their contemporaries. So when you have a guy like, and no offense to him, okay, he had the only extra base hit of the game in the 8th inning when it was already over, let's face it. But when Miguel Vargas hits a shot into the bleachers in left field, does anybody think that Miguel Vargas is going to be a 5, 6, 8, 9, 10-time All-Star? And no shade on him, I'm just calling it like I see it. And with the game itself, and this is for someone, like I said, unless it was in my living room, I probably would have watched an inning. But sadly, the game is just such a far cry from what it once was. And because these guys just literally want to be in and out, and based on everything that I've heard and read that Joe Davis, John Smoltz, who did the game on Fox, it was pretty much a 3-hour podcast. They didn't get into the particulars about the game and strategy, whatever. No, because after the first inning, when Christopher Sanchez, the Philadelphia Phillies starter, who gave up a couple of walks, 3 hits, Cody Bellinger with a 2-run single, followed by an RBI single by Ben Rice, and with Bellinger winning the MVP, I mean, that was the game. The National League only mustered up 3 hits and 1 hit throughout the first 7 innings of the game. It's not any fun. And I'm glad I didn't watch. And everybody knows, baseball is my first love. I am dying to watch baseball, but I cannot stomach watching these games. I can't. And I'm not trying to say every game has to be 8-7 or it has to be a home run derby part 2 or offensive explosions left and right. But please, when you have how many hits in the game total and 1 extra base hit, which is in the 8th inning, I mean, how's that excitement? It's just, it's a shame. So, and to me, there's no way to fix it. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you try to do. I don't care if they try to go the route, and hopefully they don't do this. I mentioned this yesterday. But if they're going to go the route of USA versus the world, and we just saw that in the WBC that I mentioned at the top, why bother? Yeah, it may be a little bit more competitive, and I'm sure that there'll be incentive for the world team. But again, you're going to have the Latin American countries and the Asian countries and maybe some of the countries that are smattering that will be a part of it. But yeah, that's when it becomes gimmicky. And what? You have to drastically change it to that extent to where you're going to have this game to be competitive? It's terrible. It just is. So that's how I feel about it. In the home run derby, I didn't get into, of course, as I mentioned. And all I got to say about that is if it's going to take 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I understand you got to go through the rounds, et cetera. I mean, it's just way too long. That sucker needs to be in and out. I'm not trying to say it has to be a tidy hour and a half. No. But when it starts to drag and it starts to just be prolonged, to me, it's not riveting. You want to be in and out. Or at least when you get to the final, maybe you could extend it a little bit. But by then, you already had enough. You've already seen enough home runs to last 50 lifetimes. And there isn't anything else I could add to the All-Star game and even to the home run derby than that. So I'll spare you. But to me, it's just a complete waste of time. Waffle Line, to fix the All-Star game, get Hal Morrison. Hey! Nancy, how are you? Welcome. I'm sure you're in and out, but I appreciate you stopping by. I know Ray. I don't know what Ray's up to. I got to find out how he's doing. Hopefully he's doing well. Bio and Val, welcome, of course. But now let's get to the nuts and bolts as I take a look into the crystal ball of the quote-unquote second half. As I mentioned on Monday, a lot of these teams have played anywhere between, 95 to 98 games. So we're well past the halfway point. But just like I said moments ago, what's going to be imperative about this second half is that baseball is going to need a lot of teams. And I understand there are going to be a lot of unsexy teams that are going to be battling, in particular for the wild card. But I'll start off with the divisions. Now, we know about the NL West. Forget about it. Even to a certain extent, although I understand that they're, 6 back? See if I read that correctly. I need my glasses. They're 5 back, the Cubs. But we would think the Brewers should cruise to a division title. The American League is different because we don't know what we're going to get. Will the Yankees overtake the Rays? Will Tampa make some deals at the deadline? Same for the Guardians and White Sox. You're going to have a 3-ring circus out west with the Mariners, Rangers, and Astros. So this is where these next even 2.5 weeks are going to be crucial because which teams are going to get reinforcements, are going to make a big pitch for, let's say, a Tarek Skubal, or will the Tigers say the hell with it? I understand that we're 8 games under 500, but in the wild card, we're only but a handful of games back. We can make a run and maybe buy a couple of pieces in order for us to put ourselves in a position to not only get in the wild card, but maybe even win a division, which right now, is that out of the realm of possibility? I mean, listen, they're 8 games under, but they're 6.5 back. So who knows? Maybe they think they actually have a shot. But I think that's what's going to be good here, especially up until August 3rd with the trade deadline for teams that are going to try to make a play to see whether or not that they're going to say to hell with it. Let's go for it. Why not? Especially in an American League where, you would think the Yankees maybe because based on their talent and their starting pitching, and Brian Cashman's going to have an ace up his sleeve to make a deal here at the deadline. But besides that, everybody else is fair game. And even in the National League to a lesser degree, because you would think that the Phillies, even the Braves are going to make a move. You wouldn't be surprised that maybe the Braves will bring in another starter. Can the Phillies, and I get it, they're a team that's long in the tooth, and they have not a win now mentality, they have a win today mentality. A lot of those guys on the team are old. Or older, I should say. I shouldn't say old, but Trey Turner isn't young. Kyle Schwarber isn't young. Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, go on down the list. Aaron Nola. This guy's been around, and they've been together for a long time. So they have to have that win today mentality because a lot of the teams you would think as we move it along here over the next final part of this decade, the Phillies, they'll still be a threat, but there's going to be other teams coming. And it's going to be interesting to see what pieces are going to be dangled, whether it is Tarek Skubal, Francisco Lindor, dare I say. I would think the entire Met team other than Juan Soto, and maybe Nolan McLean and a couple of other players, Carson Benj, A.J. Ewing. And I'm sure there's some others that I'm missing right now. But to me, how I'm going to look at these next couple of weeks, not just the big boys, the Red Sox, I'm sure they're going to try to get a couple of bats, considering they're in the middle of a 9-game winning streak, and right now they're in play for the wild card. But what are those other teams going to do? And I know the Brewers made a trade. Come on, they traded for Lance McCullers Jr. I mean, seriously? That's not a knock on McCullers Jr., but the guy's been injured every 5 minutes. And if he's healthy, is he going to be a bit of an upgrade? Because we know Brandon Woodruff's been out. Now he's on the 60-day IL with that shoulder impingement. But McCullers, that guy's not going to move the needle as far as being in a division series or even in a championship series. And I understand he was with the Astros all those years and won a title there, or 2 titles at 22. I think he was out with Tommy John. I mean, he pitched a little bit. But there's a guy that, yes, could he add to a rotation? Yes, but the big if, underline that, is if he's going to remain healthy. Think the Brewers are going to shop for a guy like Tarek Skubal? Absolutely not, because they're not going to keep him. We all understand that. But come on. They're trying to win a World Series. Lance McCullers Jr. is not the guy that's going to take them to the promised land. And it's called like we see it. Remember the Brewers are 08? They brought in CC Sabathia. Although that blew up in their faces because they lost in the wild card round, or what? No, in the division series. That was before the wild card round. They lost in the division series to the Phillies that year. But that's going for it. That's saying, you know what the hell? We need a horse. Take us to the postseason, and then let's roll the dice from there. Now, I understand that was 18 years ago, but you think the Brewers are going to do that? I don't think so. They're not going to go after a guy like that. Although they should, because that would mean to me that, oh, wait, they mean business. They're serious about winning a championship, considering last year they had the most wins in the sport, and they bombed in the championship series. But what are the Marlins going to do? What are the Diamondbacks? I understand that they went to a World Series 3 years ago. But still, what are they going to do? What will the White Sox, Guardians, maybe even the Twins, Tigers, Rays, even more so? What are those teams going to do? The teams that are in the small markets who should be big market, a la White Sox, Tigers. I mean, come on. What are those teams going to do? I want to see, and I don't want any of these weak trades that are, okay, that's fine. You get a decent reliever. And I understand not everybody's going to be up for sale. I get it. But come on. If you mean business, and considering that we're going to head into the Armageddon come December 1st, that teams would think, you know what, let's go all in because we don't know what 2027 is going to look like. Let's see what we can do now to try to win a World Series. To me, that's what I'm going to look at, even if I am the Tigers, the Twins. Now, listen, are they going to win the World Series when it's all said and done or get to a World Series? Very unlikely that they will, but what the hell? If you're within striking distance, why not? You're in the business to win games to get to the postseason. Isn't this why you compete? As fans, isn't this the reason why we root for these teams? And I get it that they're fringe playoff teams and they're whatever, 6, 7, 8 games under 500. Understood. But you can't just say, the hell with it. I mean, unless, listen, you're going to get a king's ransom for Tarek Skubal if you're the Tigers. I understand that. Please, you get a Godfather offer. You got to do it. But if you don't trade for him and you're going to stick to your guns, then make a play here, play there for a couple other bats or another pitcher or reliever, and go for it. So that's why baseball, as I said at the top, this is where it needs this juice. It needs to have teams involved and teams that are going to invest in these final 2.5 months and not be in a situation where, all right, they're hanging around, but now you get to the middle of August and the Marlins fall 6, 7 games back. Or the Tigers are now 12 back. Or the Twins, forget about. Or Arizona, see you next year. Or maybe not next year, maybe 2028 for all we know. But this is what I mean. And if baseball ends in a thud, where these teams fall out and they don't take chances and they don't take risks or they don't say the hell with it, let's go for it. Again, we're going to look back on this conversation, people, in the middle of October. And if you have sweeps in the wild card and the Brewers polish off this team and the Dodgers steamroll that team and the Yankees bombard that team, we're going to be looking at this like, oh, it's the same old song and dance. And unless you're going to get, like I said, Rays Brewers in the World Series, and even then, that's going to be a ratings nightmare. But we shall see. But how I look at it here, and just to kind of land this, and then I'll get into the schedule, because you got a big schedule this weekend, as you know, or as I've been talking about for a while. How I look at it is this, and I'll go through both leagues quickly. I think the Rays and Yankees are locks. Red Sox, listen, they won 9 in a row, and there's still 2 games under 500. And any bats in the worst way. And their pitching is coming, delivering at the right time. Do I expect them to make the postseason when it's all said and done? Listen, I would only hope so if you're John Henry and company and Craig Breslow, the GM. I would only hope so. And they got to get some bats desperately. Forget about Orioles. Forget about the Blue Jays. I mean, unless the Blue Jays all of a sudden going to click. I mean, think about this. The Blue Jays, who I understand had a lot of injuries at the beginning of the year and their rotation and so on and so forth, but unless he is going to just be on fire starting tomorrow night through the remainder of the season, to think that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on July 16th has 6 homers and 41 RBIs, that their leading homer and RBI guy is a guy that they imported from Japan to play third base. And listen, without him, who knows where they'd be? Kind of hate to say that, but it's true. But Vladdy, he's just been, I don't know. He's been off all year. And maybe he's got something in him where they could turn it on. But this kid, Okamoto, without him, they don't have another guy in their lineup that has double-digit home runs. And I know Addison Barger and Ernie Clement has played well. I mean, you can't knock him. Who is he batting? Let me see if I pull up his numbers real quick. Ernie Clement, who was on the All-Star team, he is, listen, he's batting .296, 8 homers, 32 RBIs. Not a lot of punch there offensively, but we know he's a good hitter, and that guy could play on my team any day, as we saw last year in the postseason. He had 1 million hits and was in the middle of every rally. But the remainder of the team, George Springer, 9 home runs. I don't want to make this all about the Blue Jays, but unless they're going to start out of the gate and pull the Red Sox, win 9 in a row, then I'm not taking this team seriously. In the Central, flip a coin. I think the Guardians will prevail. White Sox, to me, still wait and see. But I think they're going to be in the mix. They're going to hang around. And with the Twins, just 3 back and 4 in the loss. And even with the Tigers, I know they're 7 back in the loss, but they got to get to 500. And the West, again, I don't expect the Astros, although they always seem to find a way. But I think it's going to be between Seattle and Texas. I think Seattle will prevail when it's all said and done. I mean, I'd be shocked if they don't. But how I see it right now, I think it'll be Tampa, the Yankees, the Tampa and the Rays. They are the Rays. Tampa, the Yankees. I'm going to say Guardians. And something tells me I think the Red Sox. So that means the White Sox could be out. And I'm going to say Texas and Seattle. I think they'll find a way. Although Seattle's had their moments where they'll get to the end and then all of a sudden they'll fizzle out. I believe in one of those pennant races a few years ago, they got to 90 and 72, but they didn't clinch. The National League is a little bit more cut and dry, as I mentioned. Very top heavy with Atlanta, Philly, Milwaukee, and the Dodgers. Who are going to be the other 2 teams? I mean, you think the Cubs and the Marlins are the Marlins? Again, I don't know. Diamondbacks, Padres. Let's take a look at the wild cards in both of these leagues. Twins are currently tied with the Mariners for the last spot, where the Red Sox are a half game back. Then you have Houston a game and a half. Orioles are 2 back. Blue Jays 2.5 back. I mean, that's crazy. They're 2.5 back, and here I am. I'm just already discarding them. Like, there's no way. They haven't clicked. Guerrero, etc. It's insane. The Tigers are 3.5 back and they're 7 on the 500. I mean, that just tells you how bad the American League is. But at the same time, you get hot at the right time. The Tigers 2 years ago, they 31-10, and they won a wild card round against the Astros before they lost in the next round to the Guardians. Anything can happen. Even the Athletics, I mean, they're 6.5 back and they have 14 games under 500, but I'm not going to include them in this discussion. Then you have Cubs, Phillies, who are a half game behind the Cubs for the 4th spot. And that 4th spot's big because that means home field. Marlins, 2 back. Then you have the Cardinals, 1 back. Do I trust the Cardinals? Now, that's another team. Are they going to make moves? St. Louis, as we all know, that is a baseball hotbed. I would think they have to make a move. I mean, come on. Pirates are 2 back. What do? What does Ben Sherrington do in Pittsburgh? I would hope that they make a move or two. And why not? San Diego, I don't think they'll rest on their laurels. I know the Nats are 4 back, but and the Reds, forget about it. I'm not going past them. But the Nats, I don't know. Will the Nats make a move? I think they're young enough to think that, you know what, hey, let's just play this year out. If they're able to get a bat or able to get a veteran presence in that lineup, then maybe, or a veteran starter that's a 4th starter that knows his way around the league. But, yeah, I don't see the Nats making moves. The Nats, to me, they're going to be a team for later in this decade and beyond. But you have a million teams in the mix, and this is why. I get it. You had those unsexy teams that are there. The Pirates, the Diamondbacks. I'll throw in the Nationals for now. The Twins. I know the Guardians, but they're going to win a division, I think. White Sox you like because it's a big market. The Orioles, at least they made the playoffs, notwithstanding last year, but the 2 years prior to that, they have. Astros, we know that they're pedigreed, despite the fact that half of the players from the time where in their heyday are gone. This is why baseball needs a big infusion. And I don't know. I gave you my American League, National League. Listen, I'm picking the Marlins. They need 21 wins in order for me to get that over, as you know. But are they a playoff team? I don't know. And their schedule out of the gate is real tough. And I'll go through the schedules in a minute for the weekend. But Cardinals, Pirates, Diamondbacks, Padres. You have a lot of teams in the mix there. And baseball needs that. Whether the teams aren't, to everybody's liking or not, but you want to have these races. You'd rather have more divisional races because that's where it gets interesting when you look at the home field and who gets the buys. And let me take a look real quick. Right now, we know the Dodgers in the National League, they're going to be a lock. At worst, they're going to be a 2-seed, and they're not going to be a 2-seed. Despite the Brewers are what? 2-1. They're a game and a half behind the Dodgers right now. But let's just say Dodgers, Brewers, then Braves. And the Braves are what? 3.5 back behind the Brewers for the 2-seed. All right. And then in the American League, Rays, then White Sox, and then Rangers. But right now, White Sox are 5.5 games back, 7 in the loss of the best record in the American League. But then you have the Rangers, who are a game and a half behind the White Sox, for the 2-seed. So we're going to take a look at that. That's going to be interesting. Because could you imagine if this was late September and everything's neck and neck? The White Sox could actually have a bye in the opening round of the playoffs. I would have thought about that back in March. Not me. Remember, this team lost, 119 games? No, they lost 121 games 2 years ago. So, let's see. I'm here for it. Baseball is going to be the only thing standing after this weekend, and I'll talk about that later on. But as far as your schedule goes, Mets, Phillies tonight, and then it picks up on Saturday, so no game tomorrow. Tampa at Boston, very good series. Dodgers, Yankees, I mean, come on, you can't get any better than that. 5-star. Pittsburgh at Cleveland, not bad. And Tampa at Boston is actually a doubleheader. It's a makeup. So they got a 1:35 day night, and then they have the nightcap in Fenway. White Sox in Toronto, Texas at Atlanta, Miami at Milwaukee, Twins at Cubs, Baltimore at Houston. Then it falls off a little bit. San Diego, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Colorado, Detroit at St. Louis at Arizona, Washington at Athletics, San Francisco at Seattle. You have a ton of great series this weekend. And I understand it's not for everybody. If you root for a particular team, you're not going to care what's going to happen in the Bronx or what's happening in Boston or what's going to happen in Cleveland. I get that. But come on. At least you have something to sink your teeth into over the weekend and see, oh, yeah. Red Sox Rays, let's see if the Red Sox can continue their 9-game winning streak. Or the Rays try to extend their winning streak considering that the Dodgers are in the Bronx. And we'll see how they fare against the Yanks. And the Yanks have a 4-game winning streak, modest. Let's see where they stack up against the 2-time defending champs. And I'll be out there tomorrow for anybody in the tri-state area. Not going to the game, but I'll be outside Yankee Stadium doing some work. So whomever's watching or listening, stop by and we'll rap a little bit. Cheers, drinking water here, H2O. I'll switch it up. I'll get coconut water and watermelon juice in the days and podcasts to come. So very interesting schedule. I like it. I think it's good. So, and Bio, I see your question. I will get to that later. Hang with me. I appreciate that. You know what? Maybe I'll get to it now. What the hell? Well, that'll do it for baseball. Let me just see if I missed out on anything, any news and notes, and I'll get to Bio's question. Maybe I'll get to a couple of comments too. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we know Shohei Ohtani's going to play against the Yankees. I don't know if he's going to pitch this yet, but that's good. You want to have Ohtani going up against the Yanks. You want them to have their full arsenal. And all 3 games are night games, by the way. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, Fox, Sunday night, NBC. I'm sure they'll probably have a lot of Yankee-Dodger 77-78 highlights from those World Series, which were on NBC at that time. Or no, the first one was ABC. 77 was ABC. 78 was NBC. All right, let me get to a question, comment or two. Bio, what Met players do you think have any trade value? Well, you can start with their bullpen in particular. Brooks Raley, the lefty, who's had a very good year. I'm sure there's probably somebody who will probably pluck Huascar Brazoban, who's has a good live arm, righty. Please, Freddie Peralta, you could take him. Maybe maybe the Brewers. You want to take him back? We'll take Jet Williams back. Can we do that? Brandon Sproat, maybe not so much. If the Brewers want him, I'll drive him to Milwaukee. No, Mets actually have players with the value. The thing about Peralta is that he's, he's going to be a free agent, so he's a rental. But they have some players that they could part with that they could get back. Something decent. I mean, listen, Brooks Raley. The relievers, you're not going to get a ton back. You may get a high-level single-A prospect at best. But you'll get something. Now, as far as position players on the Mets, listen, you could say Lindor, but that's going to have to be a bad contract coming back. And that's going to be a deal for the offseason, so I can't see that happening. I'd be shocked if Lindor gets traded. No, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets traded. I'd be shocked at what the return would be. Because I don't think it's going to be prospects. It's going to be another bad contract. Maybe a prospect could get thrown in there. Who knows? And what I mean by bad contract is someone like Fernando Tatis Jr., who's making that kind of money for as many years, as I've said before in the past, and you guys know that. But, I do think the Mets have some value there. Now, forget about the Jorge Polanco's of the world and Luis Roberts. I mean, nobody's going to touch those guys. So you're going to have to play it out. But with the relievers, you could trade Peralta. Yeah, I wouldn't trade Nolan McLean or Jonah Tong or guys like that. I wouldn't do that. But, yeah, I do think they have some value. Let me see. Is there another question I could get you here? Any Nets news that I know of? I do not. Brooklyn Nets, of course. Let's see. Anything else? No, but that's a good question, Bio. I like that. And let's see what they do here over the next 2.5 weeks, because they should be in sell mode. Jay, NYC is cloudy due to Toronto wildfires. Yes. I know the wildfires. Yesterday afternoon, it was weird because it was sunny the whole day, and all of a sudden I saw what looked like clouds. I'm thinking to myself, it wasn't supposed to rain today. It'll be cloudy. And then when I'm going to walk the dog, what happens? I smell the smoke, and I said, oh, there's got to be a fire. And then a part of me thought, that can't be from north of the border, can it? And then sure enough, it was. And then here we are, just about 24 hours in. And yeah, so forget about me going on a run today, which I plan to do so after this. I'll probably have to wait till tomorrow at the earliest, hopefully, but that's besides the point. All right, now let me turn my attention. I'll get back to your comments later on. Yeah, I did see that Gary Trent. I believe he signed a long-term deal, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, there's the Bucks post Giannis. Now, the next thing I want to get into is the World Cup, as I put on my soccer cleats and start running around the field here. I have to start off with this. I cannot get over how England lost that game last night or late afternoon. And to my dear friend who I've known for over 40 years, John Irving, I got to shout him out. He loves England, has family from there. Tottenham Hotspur was his team going back to the mid-'80s, follows all those leagues overseas. And look, I'm sure he hasn't slept a wink. And I'm sure all the UK, yeah, including Ireland and Scotland, no, I'm kidding. All of London has not slept. I get it. People are going to say, well, Jay Reels, what about Argentina, the comeback, so on and so forth. I mean, we've seen this throughout the whole tournament with this team. That was on England. The story is England losing that match. It's not Argentina winning. Because when it was 0-0 first half, and then what, in the 55th minute, Anthony Gordon scores that goal. Yeah, what is his name? Anthony Gordon. And it was interesting how Harry Kane froze the defense a bit, had the long kick downfield, which set up almost a 2-on-1. It wasn't, and then to get the pass into the crease, knocked it in. And I said, wow, England, all right, but there's still plenty of match to go. By any means, you know it wasn't over. And obviously, if you've seen Argentina throughout the course of the World Cup, it's almost as if they had England right where they wanted them. Well, we saw that in the 85th minute, where from that point where England scored that goal, it was almost as if they put their feet up. The rest of the match was in the England end of the field. And Argentina, and give it up to Jordan Pickford, the goalkeeper. He was fantastic until. Listen, you can't knock his play, and I understand the goal that was scored there in the 85th minute where it was high, not in the slot. I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but it was high and it was a clear shot, but it was just a beautifully executed shot where it sailed, and Pickford did all he could to try to stop it, but no one, please, not even Victor Wembanyama would have stopped that for as long as he is. Tied the game there. And at that point, you just knew. And I just felt that even when it got to the stoppage time, that they were going to score there. It wasn't even going to get to extra time. That was my gut watching it. Because England was on their heels. England played just not to lose, and they barely hung on, as we saw. And to me, why weren't they aggressive? It was almost as if that 1-0 lead, they were going to sit on it. Did they not know what happened in the other games, whether it was against Egypt, whether it was against Switzerland, even? Come on. This team you cannot count out by any means necessary. And then what happened? 91st minute, where you had that one shot, went off the post. And earlier, before they scored the one goal, they had another shot off the left post. And, I mean, they were coming at that end of the field on England just with nothing but fury. I got something in my eye here, so if you're wondering if anybody's watching it, yeah, it's something, I don't know what the hell it is, but. So you just knew it was a matter of time before they broke through, and then they did break through, and then now we're just getting warmed up to where they got that shot off the post. And it was funny enough because then Messi, who was trailing, and I'm sure by that point he was gassed. I get it. It was late in the match. It was already in the 91st minute. But if Messi was trailing and not knowing that the ball was going to hit off the post, but the ball came right at him. But the thing is, he had to get to the ball. And funny enough, let's just say if he got to the ball early enough, he probably would have been able to score on that rebound off the post. But as it was, he was able to come up to the ball, got it, went out, and then kicked it across to the goal crease, and then it was headed in. And next thing you know, it was 2-1. And I understand England had tried to get a late flurry there. And to me, it was desperation time, and they didn't even have a shot. I know there was a couple of chances that they had where they were in the crease, and even a shot they were outside the crease, but Argentina did what it could to stop them and kick it to the other end of the field or kick it out of bounds. But that was just a brutal kick to the groin. That one you're not going to get over until they win a World Cup. And we all know that they haven't won a World Cup in 60 years. And I haven't spoken to my friend because John, who I wanted to text him, and I'm sure he's probably watching on his phone or live while at work, but I didn't want to reach out to him because the minute I say, are you watching, he's probably going to think, uh-oh, England lost. Because I didn't want to ruin it for him. He actually got at me after the Mexico game, and I wanted to reach out to him then. I said, no. And until I heard from him, I said, I'm not going to contact him. Maybe today I'll contact him because I'm sure he watched last night. But that was rough. And I know at the end of the game, Jude Bellingham, I think it was Bellingham who got into the face of a player. And that game was chippy too. That first half, I didn't even discuss that. That first half was so chippy, physical, and I thought the refs, they didn't really do a good job because granted that there weren't a bunch of scrums all over the place, but players getting in other players' faces. It was very chippy. I don't want to say it was dirty. It was about to go that way. But in the second half, after that goal was scored, it was like, all right, game on now, let's go. But I kind of think that even with all of the physical play in the first half, I'm not going to say it affected England in the long run, but it kind of made me wonder that, did they just run out of gas? Did they just, I don't know. But, oh, man, it's just thinking about it. And I'm not an England fan, although I did root for them and I was hoping for them to get to a final. And here I am thinking it was going to be France-England, and it was the opposite. But give it up, Argentina. I mean, what more can you say? The team, I think right now, and I said this yesterday on the live stream, I said you could only live dangerously but for so much, especially when you get deep in a tournament. But it's almost as if when they trail, they thrive in the game. That I'd almost be, I don't want to go as far as saying worried. But let's just say Argentina goes up 1-0 here on Sunday against Spain. I would have to think, wait a second. Are they going to continue to put the pressure on? Or Spain? Oh, we'll have to wait and see. But they play phenomenally when they're from behind. And I think if they trail in this game, now mind you, I haven't talked about Spain-France just yet, and that's going to be a very interesting dynamic, and I'll preview the game in a moment. But how could you, this team is not counted out. When you're in the 85th minute, going into the 85th minute, and you're down 1-0, and of course the game is far from over, I understand. But then they score 2 goals in 6 minutes, and you're down going into the 79th minute, 2-0 to Egypt, and you win that game. And then you're down with Switzerland, same deal, where I understand it was tied, but then they scored 2 goals late. Come on. The old saying, if it walks like a duck, it's not a mongoose. Walks like a duck, sounds like a duck. I mean, come on. So that's the Argentina game. As far as Spain, France, I understand it was dubious to call with the penalty kick, which had Spain go up 1-0 there in the, what was it? I forgot what minute that was. But let's face it, France got put in a sleeper hold. And I was trying to watch. I was with my grandson there. We went to the pool. I was trying to, be in and out. Of course, I got to stay present. I don't want to be locked on my phone, and here he is and swimming by himself. But based on that, and then I went back and watched the highlights and tried to capture as much as I could. France, they couldn't do anything. You talk about executing a defensive game plan, which I'm sure Argentina, they're probably watching the film right now. Because if Spain plays like that Sunday, they're going to win the World Cup. And that's not going out on a limb. Mbappe, nothing. Dembele, 0. Now, I understand late, when the game was out of reach, they try to, of course, when they're desperate, maybe Spain, they take the pedal off the metal a little bit, knowing that it's getting late and they got to score 2 goals to tie. But by then, the game was over. And Spain had possession. Spain did whatever they could to thwart that high-powered France offense. And all you do is just tip your cap. And it certainly made their teammate, Lamine Yamal, look good, considering that he came out, oh, France should fear us. And what do? Not only did they pitch the shutout, but they barely, you could say they threw a one-hitter. That's how great they were on Tuesday. Now, I'll take it from the France perspective. I get it. Mbappe's had a killer World Cup. Listen, I'm sure for those who can't stand France and say, look at Mbappe in the big moments. Look at him. He didn't deliver, blah, blah. Listen, Spain was better. Sometimes that happens. And when they executed their defensive game plan the way they did and were unable to get any real estate for their top strikers, I don't care which team you are. You're going to end up being victorious. And in particular, Spain, we all knew that they were a favorite coming in. And although I thought France was going to win this game, but here's a situation where, as I said on Monday, France, they played from in front this whole tournament. And they've been dominant. And they went up against a team that certainly was not only up to the challenge, but jammed it down their throat to the point where France had no answers. And therefore got exposed to the point where they got shut out. And with no room or margin for error. And as much as you want to get maybe on Mbappe, for those who can't stand France, or even Dembele for that matter, and some of the other players on the team, come on. This is where you have to look at and say, just like yesterday with England, to me, that was the story. Not the Argentina comeback, because we've seen that. The story of the game on Tuesday was Spain and how they throttled that French offense. That's it. It's not like, oh, wow, Mbappe got exposed, or, oh, wow, here's your big game player who didn't deliver. Nonsense. Not in the least. That's like having a pitcher go up against, I don't want to pick on him, but, just for the sake of the argument. If Aaron Judge goes over 4 with 4 strikeouts in a deciding game, but that pitcher happened to be Tarek Skubal, what do? You tip your cap. It's Tarek Skubal. That's it. If he was a 4th starter in a rotation and he's doing that to Aaron Judge, then that's to me. You tip your cap to the pitcher, but then that's more on Judge in that case. But what can you say? Not much about the game to really get into, unlike yesterday's match. So, and as far as the final goes, listen, Spain has to be the favorite. And again, if they are 80% of what they were on Tuesday, they're going to win the match. That's all there is to it. But here's the thing. Does Argentina have one more rabbit to pull out of their hat? And I kind of hate to use this terminology, but do they have one more bullet in their chamber to pull off, which would be, just a remarkable World Cup run? And Messi, who got the assist there yesterday, and we don't have to extol the praises on number 10. But something tells me, when teams have runs like this, and I get it, Spain, other than the first game where they were 0-0, and a lot of people are like, whoa, what happened here? And what was that, South Korea, I believe it was, in that first game? Was it South Africa? Maybe it's South Africa. But now you're at a point where it's creme de la creme. And can Argentina do that again? I understand Switzerland isn't there anymore. Egypt isn't there anymore. All right, you give it up to England, and with their grit, et cetera, resolve. And I've been burned many times. Think about Super Bowls. When you look at New England and the Giants, the first one. And I thought, all right, New England had not played well especially in the AFC Championship game that year. But the Giants, I get it. Their defense is good, but New England, I remember to this day, you know what score I picked for that final? I remember vividly. It was New England 41, Giants 24. That was my final. And we saw what happened. And I get it. Either the Magic's going to run out for Argentina or they'll prevail, and this will be one of the great runs that we've seen. I have no team that I'm rooting for here. Listen, you want to add to Messi's legacy? Why not? So maybe to a certain extent, I'm going to root for them. But something tells me I'm sure they're going to hear it. And I don't know how much the soccer media is going to be influenced by this because Spain's just going to do what they're going to do. And that's that. I'm sure whatever outside noise, they're not going to, oh, wait. Unlike here in America where, let's say if you have that dominant team and they go into a playoff or a Super Bowl or World Series or whatever, and they read the press clippings or they hear the noise or they try to block it out. That depends on the team, of course, but still. And then, therefore, they fall flat on their face. I don't think Spain will probably buy into any of that hype. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in their own locker room that are going to think, hey, they're counting us out. Lionel Messi, these comebacks, what they've done, blah, blah, blah. We're España. We were the favorites coming in. They weren't. Let's show them who's boss and come out of here with the trophy. I think Spain's going to win. Although I would not be shocked, and only because of what they were able to do there on Tuesday. If that was 3-2 Spain, I'd pick Argentina. And listen, Spain can have a bad game. And right now the weather, I got my phone over there, right? Yeah. The weather Sunday, I think it's supposed to be iffy. It's going to be mid-80s, may rain. I don't know if there's going to be an afternoon thunderstorm where it could. Now, remind you, the game's at 3 o'clock, so if you're getting into the 5 o'clock hour, who knows? Maybe the elements will become a factor. Obviously, we're not going to know until the day of. But as much as I want to say, I think Argentina is going to win, magic carpet ride, what they've been able to do late in these games, well, now it's Spain. This isn't the aforementioned teams. And it's not a knock on them. It's not a knock on Egypt, Switzerland, etc. But in England, we know that they were a behemoth. But I think Spain's going to find a way. I think they're going to deploy a similar type of game plan to slow them down, to suffocate them, and they'll get a goal or two. And next thing you know, it'll either be 2-0 or 2-1. And watch, I can see it be 2-0. And then here in the 88th minute, Argentina scores. And then in the stoppage time, they'll have an opportunity or two. And then they'll run out the clock. And then Spain will be your World Cup winner, which will be on the other side of the river here at MetLife, which I'll be nowhere near. It's the last thing. Waffle Iron, look at that. Spain, the team of destiny. Let the coronation begin now. And, did they choke? Oof. Said UK choked so bad. I mean, that was just a gag job, to say the least. All right, let me get to one other thing before I get to more of your comments and open it up. Now, today, you have the final major in golf. And mind you, it's on the other side of the pond. The other side of the pond. My mind. Can we mute this, please? Thank you. On the other side of the pond at Royal Birkdale, where a lot of the majority of the players are in the clubhouse right now, top of your leaderboard, and then I'll go backwards. You have Daniel Brown, Sung Jae Im, 4 under, and you have a million golfers that are 3 under, from Thomas Dietrich to Robert McIntyre, Francesco Molinari, Alex Smalley, Bryson DeChambeau, who needs a big tournament. He's been invisible here throughout the course, especially with the majors. Ryan Gerard, MJ Dafu, never heard of him. Henrik Stenson, now he's 2 under, Jordan Smith, etc. And you still have players that are out on the course trying to finish up, the Cameron Youngs of the world, Patrick Cantlays, the Russell Henleys, Victor Hovland, Justin Thomas, etc. Brooks Koepka. The weather there, Southport, England, is actually supposed to be pretty good. Mid to upper 60s. In fact, today and tomorrow is going to be in the 70s. And into the weekend, you're going to get anywhere between 66 and 68 degrees, which you'll take. No rain. I'm sure the wind will play a factor into it, but every time it seems year in, year out, when you watch this Open Championship, formerly known as the British Open, because obviously they'll play in Scotland and in Ireland. So that's why it's the Open. It's not the British anymore, although it's being played in the UK or in England, I should say. And you got to wonder how the fans out there, they got to be just crying in their Guinness and their whatever their choice of beverages at the pub. But with the weather looking like it's going to be in favor of the players, but based on the course itself, I think they're 2 par 5s. A lot of the fairways are going to be narrow, so that could play a factor, especially as you get deep into the weekend. The one guy that I'm going to look at, Scotty Scheffler. Scheffler, who's the defending champ. Scheffler, who I understand has been in the mix, especially with the majors, but certainly has not broken through or has not really been at the very top of the leaderboard fighting for a major championship throughout the course of this year. And it's just sad to know that this is it. There's no Ryder Cup this year. We saw it last year there out in, where was it last year? Not Shinnecock, in Bethpage Black. And we know how much of a disaster that was, especially for the U.S. team, and the fans were unruly and acting stupid. But this tournament here, when it comes to Scheffler, DeChambeau, it's great to see him at the top. Again, we're only through the first round. So we'll see tomorrow, but it looks like he'll make the cut at least. I think this is going to be a tournament because of the weather and even the golf course a little bit different. Not to say you're going to see a bunch of players double-digit under for the tournament. I'm sure you're going to see maybe 1 or 2. It's not going to be someone that's 15 under or multiple golfers that are going to be in the, let's say, 11 to 15 range under as far as for the tournament overall, especially when you get to the final day. But I think that guys such as Scheffler, who I'm sure wants to close out this season with a bang, DeChambeau, as we've seen so far, Rory, considering he won the Masters there literally, 3 months ago. It's fast. How time flies. And has been in the mix, but certainly not been a threat. And other guys, whether your name is Colin Morikawa or even Brooks Koepka, as I mentioned, or guys like Justin Rose, who you can't, Patrick Reed is another one. You want to say John Rahm? Well, let me see where they're at right now. Scheffler is 2 under right now. He's already in the clubhouse. Morikawa is at 2 under, and he's through 8, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's through 8. Morikawa always seems to be here hanging around. But with the way the weekend and how I see it unfolding, I think they need, because think about the U.S. Open and even the PGA, not really riveting golf, not fascinating. We know what happened there in Augusta, where you had both Rory, and I'm thinking back to last year with Justin Rose. Who was it with Rory this time around? Who, although had the bad tee shot, but was able to bounce back. Somebody was 1 under. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But I really think that they need to have a strong leaderboard. And right now it's looking good. Tommy Fleetwood, 1 under. Fleetwood, I know, is a guy a lot of people are hoping. Terrell Hatton's another one that they're going to be rooting for big time, especially as you get into the deep part of the weekend, because both of those guys are local guys. In Atlanta with the Argentina game. But golf, as you know, very unpredictable. I'd like to see a top-heavy leaderboard come Sunday. I think golf needs it. They have not had a great season. Like I mentioned, both the PGA and the U.S. Open were not great. And let's see. I'll be on top of it throughout the weekend. Tune into the channel for shorts. If anything crazy, riveting happens. And what's going to be fascinating is that Sunday, the golf, because those tee times, let me think. Those tee times will be early in the morning. So that should conclude before the World Cup final. Even though it gets darker late there, but even if they tee off 2 p.m., if they tee off, that'd be 9 a.m. this time. Yeah, we should know who the champion is by the time the World Cup starts. And right now, you throw your hat in the ring. I'm going to say Scheffler, and I know that's not going on a limb. I know that's being, come on, Jerry Reels. Can you be a little bit more, you want to say DeChambeau, you want to say even a guy like Tommy Fleetwood or Shane Lowry, Rory, even though Rory's not going on a limb either. But, yeah, I'm going to say Scotty because he's had an up and down year. He is a defending champ. I know it's in a different golf course. It's not as if they played in the same last year. I think, where was it at? Was it in Royal? And I think it was in Scotland last year, not in England. Royal Troon, I think it was. Troon. So I'll be on top of that as we get through the weekend. And obviously we'll recap that on Monday's podcast. But other than that, people, NBA, NHL's quiet. Not getting into LeBron and where he's going and all this nonsense. NHL, you're not going to get much out of right now. NFL, I know you got training camps, which are going to open up next week, which is, I can't even wrap my head around that right now. But you know me, I'm not going to talk about football until I absolutely positively have to. And let's see, anything else? Nothing with boxing or MMA. That is it. That'll do it. I wish I had more for you, people, but that's going to do it. But let me get to your comments here. What's this new NBA rule? Tested in a summer league only one. Yeah, I know. Did hear about that. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that, though. Only one free throw. If you miss, you get 0 points. If you make it, it can count as 2 or 3 points. Remember back in the day, now this is the late 70s into the 80s, they used to have the 3 for 2. So you can get to the free throw line, similar to the 2 for 1 in college. But 3 for 2 back then, and I forgot what, I think in the mid 80s they did away with that. But yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. I haven't really looked into that. I did read about that and did know that was happening, but yeah, I don't understand why. Prediction, Cole. Ward Manuel loses his job by the end of today. All right. I can see that. Well, at least by the weekend, you would think, tomorrow, or maybe after the World Cup, who knows? Yes, Bio. Greetings. Big weekend here in the Bronx. Everybody saying hello, Cole, to Waffle House, to Val. Yeah, no Mark Salmon signing as of yet, huh? Mets or the Mets fire David Stearns. Oh, from your lips to the baseball god's ears there, Val. Giants getting the smoke from the fires in Canada here today and yesterday, really bad. Yeah, it's been bad here today. Hasn't cleared up. I mean, listen, I don't know when it's going to clear up. In fact, shout out to Brent Tolman, who I got to reach out to. He lives in Ontario where these fires began. Now, I don't know how close he is to those fires. So, yeah, also, just want to send some positive thoughts and good vibes up to he and his family and everybody in Ontario for that matter. Terrible. Yeah, Braves are good. Speaking of the Yankees, anyone heard from Ray? I haven't seen him on for a minute. It's interesting, Cole. Let me think. I think it was on Instagram. He either gave me like a thumbs up or a heart over something. But yeah, you know what? I'll reach out to him as well. I don't have his phone number. I'll just have to reach out to him through socials, hit him up in the DM. But good looking out, and I will definitely pass that along to Ray to see whether or not he's okay. Val saying the same thing. Valkyries won yesterday. Didn't watch the highlights. Yeah, I've had a big year, 18-7. And for an expansion team, was the second year? That's not really good. It's very good. Speech therapy today, 4:45. All right. Hope all goes well with that, Val. You already know it. What's our rinse right tomorrow? Oh, Bubba Gump. Oh, you went to Bubba Gump. Cannery Row. Cannery Row. How far is that from you? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. That was a movie many moons ago. Cannery Row came out in 1981 or 82, and it had, was it Audra Lindley was in it? From Three's Company, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. Let me see. American comedy. Nick Nolte, Deborah Winger. I know. Yeah, Monterey, California. Wow. I didn't realize it was up there. Yeah, Audra Lindley was in it. For those who don't know who Audra Lindley is, because I remember her being in that movie, none other than the great, or I should say the late great, Helen Roper of the Three's Company fame. Oh, she died that long ago, 1997. Oh, listen, she was born 1918. And she died October 16, 1997. Yeah, let's see. And then, can we even go there? Norman Fell. Oh, he died 98. He died a year after. Norman Fell was Mr. Roper, of course. And he was great on that. Born 1924, died 98. I know, and I think about that too. I don't know if anybody's a Three's Company fan. John Ritter is my guy. He died on September 11th, 2 years after 9/11, 2001. Didn't he have a heart attack? 54 years age. Jeez, 54. And I love John Ritter. John Ritter was hysterical. We know about Suzanne Summers, who passed. And funny enough, the remaining characters, Suzanne, 2023, she died. Wow, she died a day before she was about to turn 77. I didn't realize that. I love Three's Company. I mean, that's one of the all-time greats. I know it's mindless. It's everything's about misunderstanding, but and I love more the Ropers than Furley. Well, Furley was all right, but you know. Joyce DeWitt's still around, who played Janet. Richard Klein's still around, who played Larry. Jenna Lee Harrison, who played Cindy. Here I'm talking Three's Company on my podcast. Who would have thought? And also Priscilla Barnes, who played Terry, who came after Cindy. There you have it. There's your Three's Company wrap up there. All right, here's the fix. Mark said, I don't know where Mark is today. Maybe he's taking the day off, or maybe he's coming out. He probably said, I don't want to hear any nonsense about the World Cup. Steve Kerr saying to a fan that is in his car that LeBron James goes to the Warriors. You know, it's funny. The more I think about it, I thought maybe he'd go to Philadelphia, but he's probably going to want to play with Steph. That's it. Yeah, somebody even mentioned that to me yesterday. Where was I? Was I on the street? No. Somebody mentioned, no, maybe it was the day before when I was out and about. I said Philly, but then I thought about it. I said, no, he's probably going to sign with Golden State. Listen, God bless him. He wants to play with him. And I know that's going to be a hot ticket whenever the Warriors come to town, because you figure this will be LeBron's last go around. And Curry, who I believe, isn't he going into the last year of his contract? Let me look at that. Unless the Warriors, which they probably will do, give him like a Kobe 2-year send-off, although I wouldn't do that contract. Curry's extension secures his place with the Warriors through 26-27. Yeah, that's it. He's a free agent after this year. $62 million. Listen, if I were to re-sign Steph, I'm re-signing him for 1 year only. No 2-year, no. I have to tell Steph, your number's going up to the rafters. We know you're an all-time great, all-time Warrior. Please, he's number one on the Mount Rushmore of the Warriors. I can't invest. If I'm Joe Lacob and company, I can't invest 2 years and $120 million. I mean, he's not going to come on. Can't do it. I understand he signed this deal with the Chinese sneaker brand, but still, I'm not doing that. How do you feel about that, Val? Where's that comment? Hold on. Yeah, Gary Trent. Waffle. Watermelon, lime, ginger, mad good. Yes. Did you make that yourself? I'm curious. Or did you buy it in the store? Yeah, I actually got watermelon that I've juiced in the fridge, and I have another one on deck on my counter. Get ready for this. So last week I went to my father down in South Jersey. I went to go visit him, my brother, etc. Did she just sneeze? Bless your case. Watermelon, seeded watermelon. I'm not buying seedless. No. Seeded watermelon where I live. Whoop, that was a sneeze. Bless you. Seeded watermelon, the cheapest I've seen it, which is in this one store, and they actually increased the price because I guess, I don't know, everybody's looking for seeded watermelon now. It was $11. Very good price. But they increased it to $14, which I was reluctant to buy. But I say, listen, I can only get it for this time from now, probably until the middle of September. After that, I'm not going to see it until next April at the earliest. Although I know a place where I could get seeded watermelon, but it's going to cost me full price, which is more than $14. So I go to South Jersey, and what happens? They have a local market, and last Friday I ran past it. Bless you again, kids. Jeez. I ran past it. Seeded watermelon, $7. 2 for the price of 1. So, yeah, I'm going to make my own watermelon lime. I have ginger. I have mint, too. That's also great. I'm also going to blend them and make them into popsicles. So, yeah. Can't wait to do that. Oh, Bio, you're speaking my language. Thank you, Val. The Regal Beagle. Yes. Used to love the Regal Beagle. Whenever they used to go there. A lot of funny skits there. I take 77. Oh, I got to go back and think of what I was referring to. I take 77. If you could clear that up for me, Waffle Iron, I'd appreciate that. I take 77. Oh, remember John Ritter? Yeah, that was Three's a Crowd, which was terrible. Yeah, they had, because if you remember at the end of Three's Company, toward the end, the last couple of episodes, Janet was getting married and everybody was moving out. Terry was moving, I think, to San Diego, or I forgot what it was. And then Jack, who had the restaurant, Mr. Angelino, he had his bistro and had the building. There was an apartment in the building above him where he was going to move into. And I think the woman's name was Vicky in the show. The actress was Mary Carteret. And Robert Mandan played the father of Vicky. I forgot what his name was in the show. But, yeah, in those last couple of episodes, I think it was a 2-parter where they showed the wedding and then afterwards, the memories, etc. But Jack now moves into the apartment above in the restaurant, and it concludes where Jack is about to go into the bed with Vicky, and it's like the first time they're spending a night together. Of course, obviously it's the 80s. They don't want to imply anything, put the cart before the horse. So it's a situation where now they're in the bed, and again, a knock on the door, and in barges Vicky's dad, and like, hey, what are you doing here? It's like, oh no, I just wanted to come and congratulate you, moving in, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But also now, not only, I'm also your landlord because he bought the building off of Angelino, and therefore the restaurant was also a part of the dad, and therefore the spinoff Three's a Crowd came about. And I watched those episodes, but I vaguely remember them. I'm sure I could probably find them somewhere on the streaming platform. But yeah, the show was awful. I mean, I love John Ritter. Rest in peace. But yeah, that show. Got married. Yeah, I don't know if he got married to her. Oh, I said someone lady died at 77. Yeah, that was Audra Lindley, who played Mrs. Roper. I take 77? Well, let's unpack that, Waffle Iron. I know you said you're 50, right? Or you're turning 50. And I know you try to keep yourself in shape. One of these days, you and I have to get together. If you want to. I'm not trying to twist your arm or turn the screws. But we got to. But, yeah, got married. I don't think he got married on the show. I know they dated and they lived together, but yeah, and I can't even tell you what what's it called was, like how it even ended. I'm sure it just ended after a season. Got a blender. I don't eat outside. Too cheap to throw away. I hear that. And see, my problem is that I probably spend too much money. Now, listen, I understand buying a $14 watermelon is not conducive, considering where I'm at in my stage of employment. And even though I understand it's my doing, which hopefully that tide will turn soon. But right, I shouldn't be out there spending $14 on a watermelon. But how I look at it is that I'm not going to spend $6, or I've seen seedless watermelon whole for as cheap as $5. I'm not doing that. I'd rather eat seeded watermelon that I know, come on, GMO. I'm not doing that. But I understand the price you pay. But good for you. So you blend it. I'm sure you probably put it through a strainer, or you just take it as a shake like that. I'm curious. Yes, Waffle Iron. Oh, here we go. I'm 50 but feel like 70. Now, why is that? Can you explain? I know I won't put you on the spot, Waffle Iron, but I will say what's the wheels turning in my head. I am this close to wanting to send you the link so you could join me live. I won't do it unless you say, yeah, send it to me. I won't do it. But be interesting to have you on. It's the thing. I've had Bio on. I've had J-Rod on. I've had Cole. I've had Val on. I haven't had you on. This could be your opportunity if you want. Just putting it out there. No pressure. It's all good. Candle burning both ways. Oh, at work. And all right, I hear you. Happens. I sit all day. I got hobbies like Big Brother, Mets, and movies. What kind of hobbies besides running? Or is that not a hobby? That's just a daily chore that you have to do in order to stay in shape? Mets and movies. And what kind of movies are you watching? I'm curious to know what's happening there. All right. Anything happening in sports here before I move it along? Yeah, I know they, whatchamacallit, as I see here, they are sitting out AJ DeBonsa of the Wizards, but then I'm reading this. This team could be super special. The Wizards star are embracing the pressure to win. Well, with Anthony Davis, and Trae Young, I mean, it's a decent start. Obviously, the other two guys got to stay healthy, as we know. Let's see. Other than that, that's it. Why is the Liberty and Dallas Wings game postponed? And that's in Dallas. I can see if it was here. Let's see. Nothing here. Doesn't show or say anything. No. Yeah, Gamecast. Does it show why it's postponed? I'm curious. College Park Center in Arlington. Something happened in Arlington I don't know about? All right. What do we got here? BMX biking, e-biking, mountain biking, jogging, and lifting. That's good. You're active, man. I love it. Us 50-year-olds, man, we got to maintain. And even 40 and up for that matter. And I see also Val out there running from time to time, which is great. I know Val does the Peloton. I love it. And you love movies from Japan, India, and China. All right. Good stuff, Waffle Iron. I love it. How's your leg? I know I haven't asked you about that in a while. Valkyrie second year, yeah. It's not too far from me. Cannery Road from Pacific Grove. Well, if it's in Monterey, let's see. How far? Cannery Road to Pacific Grove. Oh, are you kidding? 6-minute drive? No way. Wait, I gotta open this. Is this right? Open the maps. Hello. Thank you. Hold on. Yeah, I don't like the way this map looks. Monterey Bay. So you're right by Monterey, I see, of course. Now it says 6 minutes. So that's anywhere in Pacific Grove. I don't know exactly. Well, you're right there by the whatchamacallit too. You're right there by the water. How far are you from the water, Val? Can you see the water from where you live? I'm curious. Yeah, can I change this? I gotta this. Let me get to the satellite. I mean, this is this. Ugh. There we go. Yeah, so you're about what are you about 40 minutes from San Jose and about an hour from San Francisco, right? Yeah, I got peeps that live in Livermore. I was out there, 4 years ago? And then Cannery Road to, let's say, LA, which I know is not close. That has to be about drive 6 hours, maybe. At least 5-6 hours. All right, leg is good. You're still running what? Roughly 3 miles, 3 to 4. What's this? Right now, my friend's mom is entering hospice. Oh, geez. Please say a prayer if she needs her husband. Oh, geez. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. Yes. Prayers go out to her. How old, if I may ask? You know, I saw something on my phone the other day. Did I not share this with you guys? I actually took a screenshot of it. You know what? Give me 1 second. I'm just going to get my phone. And my glasses. All right. Yeah, definitely say a prayer to her, whomever she may be. Terrible. Yeah, Val, prayers to your friend. 3 to 4 miles. That's good. Yeah, I haven't run more than 5 in the last couple of months. Oh, wow. 80s. Friend's mom is 80s with Alzheimer. You know, and I even worry about that too because I really get, I try to sleep. I started using this thing, the intake breathing. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Man, that sucker does wonders, but I got to get more length in my sleep. But, yeah, now that we're talking about life a little bit, which, hey, why not? I'm always up for good conversation about life and prosperity and living it to our fullest and not just existing. Well, these glasses are dirty. Can you tell? Let's see where I know I had saved this. Wait, where is this? When your post get over 1,000 views, I don't want to see that. All right, so I found this thing the other day, and let me tell you something. This sucker hit home. All right, get ready for this. I don't know who this guy is, whatever, but I saw this quote, or I saw this post, not a quote. I saw this post and it really hit home. You ready? I'm at a funeral, and the person that passed away was 47. He went to the Knicks parade. He said it was the best day of his life. Life is short, with the prayer emoji, Tommy. If that doesn't put things in perspective, I don't know what will. And listen, I get it. We're impacted by whether it's a death of a celebrity or an untimely death of someone, whether it's a celebrity, athlete, etc. And we're impacted there maybe for a few hours, maybe a day or two, whatever it may be. And one of the things that I want to focus on, especially when it comes to a lot of the content that I put out, not necessarily here on the channel, because it's more sports related, as you know, but I kind of want to mix it up, but I don't want to mess up the algorithm. But one of the things that, especially now in my life, being 57, is having more of a sense of urgency to do the things that I want to do and not just stay in my apartment all the time, to be that mad scientist, to come up with whether new ideas, thoughts, contacting people, whatever it may be. I understand it's important, and that's part of what it is that I'm doing, but I need to reconnect with family, friends, loved ones, etc., or even meet new ones like you, Waffle Iron. If there was ever a day or time where we were to connect and meet up. Because, yeah, it is, I don't want to sound cliche. I don't want to sound like I'm some sort of philosopher or anything like that. But, yeah, when you hear about, as Waffle Iron just mentioned, someone that's in hospice, and I can only imagine what that person's going through. Hopefully they're coherent. Hopefully they're able to communicate with their loved ones, because I can't even imagine if they're incoherent. I mean, that's no way to have a demise. I mean, I understand we're all going to have our demise one day, but if we could prolong it and certainly not accelerate it, that's where at least we're ahead of it. So something just to put in perspective. That's why when I talk about running or talk about, drinking my watermelon juice or my coconut water or eating certain things, or it's not a fad. It's not, it's with the times. No, it's because it's preservation. And I like to see you, Waffle Iron, and even Val for that matter, keep yourself, and you're ahead of the game. There's a lot of people that don't. And even though I understand you like to sit at home, you watch your films and you watch the Mets, and I'm gracious enough for you to watch me here as much as you do. And that goes to everybody. But yeah, I feel like we're all like-minded individuals. Obviously, sports is what's connected us, but yeah. And you know what? It's funny you say that, Waffle Iron, this right here. Soaking your feet for 30 minutes with hot water before bed. Not only that, but I want to try this thing. It's you take apple cider vinegar, Epsom salt, some lavender. What's the other thing too? It's something else. And you soak that, and then you take a brush, and you have to brush away from your body, I think it is. That not only is supposed to make you sleep well, but it gets rid of all your toxins, which Lord knows, I'm sure I got whatever from eating fried food at times or drinking alcohol. Not that I drink alcohol a lot, but still. 57, body's not going to adjust as much as it would have if it was 20, 30 years ago. So I like this. How often do you do this, Waffle Iron? I'm curious. The Novice, my man. And I owe you a big thank you. Because if it wasn't for your question the other day, thoughts on the top 10 list. And now that I think about it, let me look up another list that came out, which we'll have some fun with. I don't know if it was ESPN. They came out with the top 25 baseball players of all time. Or maybe it's just this century. I don't know. I'll check that out next. But that's it. It's a lifestyle. And bio, I like what you put here. I love pistachios too. Eat 1 ounce of pistachios before you go to bed. Help you sleep better. Great source. I got to try that too. I know magnesium and all that, rightfully so, but between this and the soaking feet, I have Epsom salt. I got to get lavender. As a matter of fact, there's lavender that's grown not too far, or not grown. It's actually growing wild. Coming off the Parkway Saturday, back from my parents or my dad's, and I noticed this bushel of lavender, and I said, "Man, I got to grab some of that." A lot of this stuff is growing in the wild. A lot of people don't know that. Please, and this trail that I go run, which the novice is familiar with, near Orchard Beach or right in next to the parking lot, I see mushrooms. Now, I don't take them, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are edible. Now, I haven't done it, people, so don't think, J-Reels, don't do it. But, yeah. You try soaking your feet every day. I got to do that. Yeah, I got to get a big enough bucket. Yeah, because I want to do that thing. It's apple cider vinegar, Epsom salt. I know lavender is something else I'm missing, damn it. But yeah, but it gets the toxins out, and Lord knows. And pistachios I got to try too, because I love pistachios. Matter of fact, I got to buy some. Yeah, I have cashews, I have almonds, I have walnuts, which I love. I put that in my oatmeal. I got to get pistachios. Jay, I want to start a YouTube or Twitter company that lets users view other users' chat history. I'll tell you something. If you do that, you're going to be a zillionaire. How we get there is a whole other story. I mean, have you looked into it? I'm sure you probably have. To what extent have you done so? I'm curious. Stocked and grapefruit. Good for you. Vitamin C. Pistachios and grapefruit. Do you juice grapefruit bio? I'm curious. Or you just eat it plain? Do you add anything to it? I'd like to know. Yeah, I got to get some pistachios. Have I seen the trailer? I actually saw it last night. Yeah, I play Rocky. Yeah, I don't know who the actor is, though. Sucker, anything about sports, I love Rocky. I mean, listen, Rocky is one of the all-time great movies. I did see it. It was kind of weird to see the actor portray Stallone and do the voice, and yeah, you know. But yeah, I would see that. It comes out in November, I think. I just eat country. Okay. I know there's a lot that was too bitter. Sometimes they got to add a little bit of sugar. Yeah, I could usually juice that with oranges, pineapple, carrot, and ginger. I juice grapefruit the course top. Oh, you do that too, huh? Nice. What else do you juice, Waffle Iron? I'm curious. And if and whenever we meet, I'm going to bring you some juice too. Rocky Balboa is my favorite sports character. Yeah, I probably have to say that too. How about Willie Beeman? Willie Beeman, of course, from Any Given Sunday. Oliver Stone, played by Jamie Foxx. Yeah, the first Rocky was great. Yeah, I actually watched that one. It's been a few years since I watched it. But interesting, DeNavis. And obviously it ties in with your Philadelphia Eagle roots, considering. I mean, I know you're not from Philly, but. All right, let me look up this list. Hold on. There was a recent. Oh, MLB players. MLB. Oh, this was an ESPN. Yeah, it's 2022. Oh, Sports Illustrated. Well, they do have a top 25 players of the last 25 years. I'd like to see that. Here we go. Sports Illustrated. I probably got to get a subscription to this, right? All right, we're gonna have some fun with this. Ranking the 25 greatest baseball players of all time. It's Sports Illustrated, but and this is 3 people: Kyle Koester, Tim Caperso, and Ryan Phillips. All right, here we go. 25, Pedro Martinez. 24, Tom Seaver. 23, Rogers Hornsby. All right, so they're going that far back. Okay. 22, Randy Johnson. 21, Frank Robinson. 20, Christy Mathewson. Oh, this list is all right. Listen. So far, so good. All right, here's going to be my top 5. I'm going to guess the top 5. 5 through 1. Well, we know who 1 is. So I won't be surprised if they put Ohtani in 5, but I wouldn't put him there. I'm going to say, and there's got to be one player that's recency bias. Do they put Albert Pujols there? I mean, how do you top these 5 players? Williams, Gehrig, Cobb. They may throw Cy Young in there if they got Christy Mathewson in here, and Ruth. So I'm going to say Williams, Gehrig, Cobb. I'll say Cy Young and Babe Ruth. That's my prediction. That's not my top 5. That's what I'm going to predict these top 5. Ricky Henderson, 19. Roger Clemens, 18. All right. Ooh, Cy Young, 17. They only named the award after him. He only won 511 games, but okay. Maybe Walter Johnson will take his place. 16, Mike Schmidt. 15, Mike Trout. Pujols is going to end up in the top 5, I bet. 14, Joe DiMaggio. All right. 13, Greg Maddux. Maddux is a better pitcher than Randy Johnson. Johnson was better in the postseason than Maddux. And what was Johnson? Johnson ended up with 306 wins, I think. Hang on. 303. If you ask me, I'd take Johnson over Maddux on that list. I know Max has won, 5 Cy Youngs? 4 at least. Johnson's won. Johnson's doing a perfect game, though. All right, Maddux. Ken Griffey Jr., 12. Stan Musial, 11. Walter Johnson, 10. There's going to be a pitcher in the top 5. I swear. It better not be anybody. Lou Gehrig, 9. Shohei Ohtani, 8. Not surprised. Mickey Mantle, 7. Wait a second. So if there's no Gehrig, Walter Johnson's got to be in the top 5 then. Ted Williams, 6. Here we go. Ty Cobb, 5. Hank Aaron, 4. I even forgot Aaron. That's just goes to show where my head is at. Yeah, Aaron belongs up there. Take out Johnson, put in Aaron. But Johnson's going to be up there. Put Barry Bonds 3rd. Willie Mays 2nd and Babe Ruth 1st. They didn't even have Walter Johnson on this list. Bonds 3rd. Not for nothing. They got steroid guys on here. They didn't have Pujols on this list. Or I got to say, if they have, and they got steroid guys on here. You know who belongs in the top 25? A-Rod. And Pujols hit 700 home runs. He's only one of 4 people to do that in the history of the sport. The guy won 3. Listen, I understand a lot of that was in the front half of his career before he left to Anaheim. But as I've said this before, the guy was in the top 10 MVP voting I believe, in all 10 of his years, and he was in the top 5 9 times. That guy's got to be in the top. He's got to be in the top 10. And A-Rod, 696 home runs, 3-time MVP. I know steroids, I get it. But if Bonds is on here, then A-Rod's got to be on here. And A-Rod was a tremendous shortstop. I know played at third with the Yanks. If I were to take anybody out of this list, it's tough. I know Trout's won 3 MVPs. I get it. But come on. Are you picking Pujols or Trout to be on this list? Or even A-Rod for that matter? Sorry. So Trout is out. Griffey, I know. I love Junior. I do. Stan the Man led the NL in hits before Pete Rose broke that. Williams, Ty Cobb, it's got to be on that. Hank Aaron. I know Bonds. I don't know. I got to see your comments. I'm sure there's some comments on this. Juicer or juice press? I love my juice press. Oh, I got a juice. Cold press, that's the only way to go. Yeah, you got to get the slow. It's called masticating, I believe. Definitely juice pressed. I'm with you there, the novice. Ran on Peloton. Good for you, Val. I do a smoothie every morning. 5 ounce Greek yogurt, 2 scoops protein, filter milk. Nice. I like that. What kind of milk? Filtered. Skim, 2%. Plant-based? I don't know. From my apartment, I can see the water. Wow. You gave us your address? Oh, geez. Now I'm going to look that up there, Rob. Don't worry. I won't spring up on you out of the blue. 325. Ocean View Boulevard, right? Wait, I don't want Cannery Row. No. Get this out of here. Wow, that's nice, Val. Awesome. Lighthouse Avenue. Any good restaurants around there? Johnny's Pizza. Hula's Island Grill. Oh, you got some Hawaiian fare. Campagno's Market and Deli. We could stay at the Intercontinental. The Clement Monterey right on the beach. I'd sign up for that. Do I believe in my New York Mets, J. Real, second half of it? Maybe. I hate to say it. I do not. Do not believe in them. Barry Bonds, my number one. I know. I know. When people ask me who's the best player I've ever seen, I say Griffey. But you know, A-Rod was great too, though, man. Bonds, and listen, you can't knock Bonds. I know steroids. I know. Yeah, Waffle. I know everybody's gone crazy over the Zaxby's. Would you come up here to try that? Yeah, where did they open that store? Zaxby's. Now, you got to remember, I'm not a chicken guy. I know it's going to sound weird. Maybe one day when we all get together, we'll talk about it fully. Oh, they're on Boston Road. That's not far from me. 3260 Boston Road. Oh, I know that's it. That's actually near where I get my car serviced. Not now. Yeah, they opened June 29th. I wonder why the Bronx. It's so weird. They have loaded fries, a giant quesadilla. Yeah, I'm looking at the menu now. Chicken bacon ranch. Yeah, these are foods I don't really mess with. 10 wings for $10. Salads, kids' meals. The drinks where they got like a peach, frozen lemonade, strawberry lemonade, handcrafted. Is it handcrafted? Yeah, I'm sure the lines are long for that. Shohei will surpass Bonds in my eyes at the end of his career. Listen, if Shohei continues this and he wins 2 more MVPs, and let's say we got to start off with 1 Cy Young, but if he wins 2, he's going to be, at that point, how could you even argue that? Let's see where he's at. I was looking at his numbers yesterday. Or what was it? Maybe not yesterday, on Monday. Oh, pretty soon I'm going to need my plug. Yeah, how about Mike Tyson yesterday with the ESPYs? I didn't watch. I didn't even see the clip. I just saw that as I'm seeing it right now. Mike Tyson asks about Shohei Ohtani during ESPYs award. And he was on there with Jake Paul and my all-time fave, DJ Khaled. And I say that tongue-in-cheek. Let's see. And Ohtani just turned 32. Yeah, 302 homers, 727 RBIs. Listen, he doesn't have to get to 500 home runs. We know that. But at this pace, he's going to get to 500, barring a major injury. I mean, come on, the guy's won 4 MVPs. Yeah, Ohtani could quit baseball right now, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, no, and I can see that, I can see him surpassing Bonds. Maybe not home run totals and RBIs and all that, but, I mean, and then he pitches too. I mean, Ultra filtered milk is regular milk, comes with double protein. Oh, Fairlife. Yeah, I know Fairlife. All right. Yes. As I told you 2 years ago, I saw a lot of Dodger fans in Manhattan. I'm going to get out there tomorrow, probably as early as 2 o'clock, because I'm sure they want to get in the stadium early, and hopefully I'll sure to see a lot of Dodger fans. But I'll interview Dodger fans, but I want to interview Dodger fans from LA. That is my goal, because I want to get their take. And I'm even formulating some questions, legitimate questions. I mean, will they not be legitimate when it comes from me? But legitimate from the standpoint of, would you be disappointed if you don't three-peat this year? Stuff like that. Or how much do they put the significance on the three-peat this year? How bad do they want it? Is it significant to them as a fan? Stuff like that. Because if I hear a Dodger fan come on and be like, if we win, we win. We don't, we don't. I'm like, no. I'm sure the vast majority is going to say, yeah, we want the three-peat. We want to. And remember, one team, 2 teams, the A's of the 70s, have won 3 or more. No National League team has done it. Dodgers could do that this year. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My fried chicken is better. I make my own rub and flour. My own chicken. Wow, that sounds good. Nice. All right, Waffle Line. What else do you make? What's the favorite thing that you like to cook? 32. Yeah. Bio always on top of it, which I love. Another 10 years, 45 at 750. Wow. Now, I know it hit 45 a year. That's going to be, as he gets older. The big question of that bio, and we don't have the answer. Now, obviously, if he's healthy, I get it. But to what age does he pitch until? Because he signed, this is his what? His 3rd year. He's got 7 more years after this year. Heaven forbid he has another Tommy John. I mean, he's already had it twice now, right? I would think he'll probably pitch. Of course, he's going to say when he's going to pitch. If he's 38 and he feels like he still could deal, he's going to pitch. Whether that means he's a closer or starting pitcher. But 10 years of 45 home runs. Oh, I mean, if he does that, he'll be the GOAT for sure. Have I ever been? I have not, Val. Hopefully one day I will. I use the feta sour rub. Isn't that that's a barbecue restaurant in Brooklyn. That's the name of it. But obviously, you make your own feta sour. What is in a feta sour rub? Secret ingredient is espresso beans in the rub. I know I'm not much of a coffee guy, but I'm sure that's pretty good. Here we go. Feta sour dry rub. Yep, the 1 cup of ground espresso beans, dark brown sugar, kosher salt, espresso beans, black pepper, garlic powder, cinnamon, cumin, cayenne pepper. And you do that into the chicken. That's got to be out of sight then. Hold on. All right. Let's get rid of this. Get rid of this. Yeah, that top 25 greatest baseball players list. Yeah, I have questions about that. And I cook Vietnamese pho. My bro says to me, "Oh, does it really? What else do you put in it?" Yeah, I love pho. Pho is. Do you guys have a Buca de Beppo in New York? I don't know. Let's see. Yep. Chelsea, 9th Avenue in Manhattan. Oh, they have more than one location? Hold on. Times Square, yeah, you don't want to go there. Is that the only one? Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's the one in Times Square. They close it? Hold on. Shot it again. Hold on. New York City locations. There we go. Oh, wow. Look at that. There are no active Buca de Beppo locations in New York City. The former Times Square location at 1540 Broadway is permanently closed. Wow. Did not know that. And the one on 9th Avenue? Let me see. Yeah, there's one in Hell's Kitchen, which is west of Times Square. It says Boca de Baccio. No, wait, hold on. Oh, that's a different restaurant. Boca de Baccio. This is De Beppo. Yeah, so. Yeah, I guess they don't have it anymore. Wow. I guess that went up by you, Bio. My brother uses grilled pork, beef bones, toasted spice, brown sugar, 768. Wow. Oh, that's got to be, I can imagine in the wintertime. That's got to be out of sight. And I would assume you make it more in the winter as opposed to doing it in these hot summer months. Good lasagna. Yeah, I never been, never had it, never tried. My apologies. I hit the wrong button and went back. So if you lost me for a minute, my apologies. The novice. My son loves that place. Oh, wow. Yours the Bobby V Rainbow Cake. Summer's Grilling and Salads. Do you have a place to grill, Waffle? Also have Vince Spaghetti out here, too. And that's the thing there. Italian restaurants, dime a dozen. The one restaurant I'd love to get into, but of course it's impossible, is Rayo's in East Harlem. Yeah, you got to know people that know people that know people. I can't roll up in there and be like, hey, can I get in there? Nope. Oh, you have a propane grill or pellet smoker. Now you have an apartment, so is that tricky with the smoke? Boy, I want to go back to, hold on, this Bobby V cake. Well, I got to look this up. Oh, is it Buddy V? Yeah, look at that sucker. Wow. 6 vibrant colored, rainbow colored layers of vanilla cake. Yeah, that sucker looks pretty good. I have a single family house. All right, so you live in an apartment in a single family house, or do you have the whole house? Because I would think if you have a house, you have a backyard, no? Buddy V. Yeah, that's major league. Let me get my power supply. Hang on, kids. Where's the other part? Oh, I left it over there. Jeez. Hang on, guys. I got to get the other part of my power cord. As a matter of fact, here you go. Drink the rest of this. I have another container. I'll tap out that water and then drink this. And I got to make some more later too, as you know. Yeah, backyard, garage, and storage. Oh, nice. So you grill in the backyard. So just like Bio and even J-Rod had invited us over to their place. When are you going to invite us over? I'd invite you here, but, you know, I got a dog and married in an apartment. So we'd have to meet somewhere public. You can still come over too, as long as I inform the wife. But you guys have homes, houses where we could be outdoors, especially summertime. All right. Wait, and you live in Sunset Park, is that right? You don't have to put the address there. Waffle. I think Sunset Park, if I'm not mistaken. Cheers. I may crack open the other one too. Oh, Midwood, that's right. And you got that the pizzeria that's over there, which is not the owner isn't there anymore. The guy was like 88 years old. The novice, interesting. Am I an electrolytes guy? I'm not, but especially if I juice this, sometimes I'll put Himalayan pink salt to get extra electrolytes. But, and what else do I put in there? Yeah, no, just some pink salt, if anything. I can imagine by you that where you're at, you always got to hydrate. Yeah, because I don't do Gatorade. I don't do any of that stuff. This is my Gatorade. I know it sounds very bougie of me, but you know what? Gatorade, all the chemicals that's in there, the dyes, I'm not with that. 97. It's already 88. So what is it now? 10 a.m.? Yeah, it's supposed to hit low 90s if it's not already. Hold on. Oh, hold on. What is this? Yeah, standby. Cocoa nuts. Let's see. All right. Temperature. Well, I know Fanatics Fest starts today. Wow, look at the building. They got it all outside. I know. I haven't gone. I'm supposed to go there Saturday. I got to get my tickets. My guy Keith is there, who I've interviewed, who's been on here in the past. Yeah, I'll go back and check that. Weather. It's 87. I think it's supposed to be 92. Oh, 4 o'clock is the high. Excuse me. It feels like 88. I'm sure with the fires, it's preventing the sun to really make it warmer than what it should be. What is this? Oh. Yeah, Keith. Rain in New York is expected Saturday and Sunday. That's brutal. Why is he saying that? Uh-oh, what's this? Reading all these stories here. Midwood. What's this, Val? My birthday. Yes, 22. Speaking of what happened to Miles? Remember Miles, 14? Where's he at? 2021, yes. I think it was 88, 89. Is that right? I'm an Ultima guy because that's not my fast. Yeah, I never tried that. Yeah, I'm reading this thing about Tyreek Hill. Yeah, just nonsense. The air quality in New York is so bad because of the wildfire. This is what it looks like in Ontario. Yeah. And again, I got a shout out to Brent Tolman. All right, let's put this down. Ultima. Is that a electrolytes? Yeah, I'm checking this out right now here, the novice. Fight fogginess, crankiness, and afternoon slumps. 6 essential electrolytes. Oh, let's take a look. Gluten-free, keto-friendly, and vegan. Plant-based flavors and colors. All right. So plant-based flavors and colors means that they probably put vegetable colors from beets, organic sweetener. Looks legit. I want to see the. Hold on. I need a nutrition. Hold on, let's go up. Shot by flavor. All flavors. Which one do you drink, the novice? Lemon black tea, they have a collagen defense, daily focus, martini, tropical variety pack. Let me see this one. Here we go. Nutrition facts. This is what I need to see. Sugar, no sugar, carbs, or calories. Yeah, but what is the... They don't have the ingredient list? All right, hold on. Oh. My man. Core ingredients: magnesium citrate, potassium phosphate. Okay. My man. On top of it. Oh, yeah, there's the ingredient list. Oh, wait, so which two of these? I see a coconut, pineapple coconut, which is right up my alley. And then the black tea. Show me the ingredient list. I'd be curious. Nice. See, stuff like this, hey. Yes, you are, Val. Pina colada one, coconut is my fat. Vacation or cup. Yeah, listen, I love anything with coconut is just forget it. You guys got to make me do that right now. Ready? Watch this. And I haven't even tried it that way. So you know what? I may experiment. Yes. Send me the ingredient list. I'm curious. All right, you guys got to make me do it. And then for good reason. All right. Stand by. I got you, Donavis. I see it. I don't even want to drink this now, this water. And I got news for you. Listen, I'm not trying to sound like a nutritionist or it's based on experience. And it's true. When you drink watermelon or whatever fruit you decide to juice, especially cold pressed, it's best to drink from this than water. And I understand our body needs water, but guess what? This is water also. And water that has nutrients because, of course, whether it's tap water or filtered tap water or even some of the bottled stuff. And I like to drink Saratoga. That's my favorite. But again, you're better off drinking from the source. And I get it. There's springs and from upstate New York or wherever you get your water. I know it's room temperature. I'm not a room temperature guy, but it's been sitting there a couple hours. All right, but I'm going to show you something. Or I'm going to do something. Oh, black tea tastes like Snapple? Nice. And I know it's one of the flavors you had. Yeah, the pina colada one, I'd be all over. All right, but check this out. Ready? All right, I'm not a shill. If they want to sponsor, and I've reached out to them. Saratoga, I know it's probably backwards. Very good water, blue bottle. And actually, I wasn't drinking that. I was drinking actually filtered tap. But now, you're making me bring out the heavy artillery. Oh, by the way, can I do a shameless plug? And I got to reach out to them. I'm going to do a shameless plug before I get to my experiment. Here you go. You got vintage cola. And look at this one, a pineapple paradise, Olipop. And I know I got SpongeBob here, so who knows if I'm going to get copyrighted? Probably not. Go to drinkolipop.com. You'll save 15%, 15, off your order by using the promo code JReels. I get a kickback of that. So just thought to throw that out there. That's number one. Now, I'm going to try this. Everybody still with me? I hope you are. Oh, I see a couple of you got left. That's all right. I forgive you. Saratoga's good. Mountain Valley guy because if I I like Mountain Valley too. All right. Here's my experiment. This is young Thai coconut water, which I cracked last week and I haven't opened this yet. Because the minute I open it, I'm going to have to drink this within 2 days. Bio, I'm good. I'm glad you're here. So right, again, young coconut water, which I bottled, and this was just 2 coconuts. It gave me almost a liter, and you can even see. You probably can't really tell, but you can see the enzymes that are swimming in there. This is one of the best things to actually drink. And then this was cold pressed watermelon. Look how cloudy that is, right? But there you go. Who needs red Gatorade when you got watermelon juice? So now, yeah, and maybe after this I'll sign off. Who knows? Mark Salmons, where are you? Man, this sucker is locked. There we go. And the thing is, I just clipped my nails the other day, so I have no nails. Or last night. All right. So I'm going to put half that. Because I know there's this guy that I follow. Never met him. He actually lives out in your neck of the woods, Bio. He goes by the name of Johnny Juicer. I've been following him for years. And he juices his own stuff, obviously with the name Johnny Juicer. And he's mixed watermelon and coconut. I just spilled it. Watermelon and coconut because it was filled to the top. Spilled a little bit. Yeah. I have to lick this sucker off my hand. All right, that's it. Cheers. Still tastes good even after I cracked this sucker last Thursday. But now I'm going to have to drink this in the next 2 days. All right, stand by so I can try it mixed. Made a mess. I know my puppy's saying, what the hell is this man doing? Yeah, I'll see what else is happening in sports, and then I'll sign off. Because I know I've gotten a bit off the rails here. But hey, we're talking health. We're sharing all this stuff. I don't know if Waffle Iron is still with us. All right. Yeah, I spilled it on the floor. I know I got to mop and clean. Saratoga. Yeah, no, absolutely, Donavis. Hold on. Why is this? Don't you hate that when you spill something and you spill a few drops and it almost feels like you spill a gallon of water or a gallon of liquid? In my case, here comes Kiz. She's gonna. Well, that's fine. She could drink that. I should have stirred this. Here you go. Cheers. Watermelon and coconut. Oh my God, that sucker's good. 2 of my favorite things. Oh yeah. Holy shit, that's good. All right, what are you drinking, Bio? Coconut pineapple sparkling water. What is that from? I'm curious. Coconut pineapple sparkling water. Man, that's right up my alley. I live in an apartment 2. Come over J Real Pacific Grove. And you're right by the water. I'm sure that's probably, and I've seen your videos where you run. Oh, I would, with the water right there, forget it. Waffle Iron. I like adding wheat dextrin. Oh, psyllium husk, yeah. I can see that. Never thought about doing that, but you know what? Oh, the Buble? Isn't it called Buble? Oh, I never tried that one. I gotta check that out. Put address. That's all right. Don't worry about it. I don't think. Well, hopefully nobody. I mean, what's she doing? Yeah, she's like sitting right in front of me now. Bubbly, buble, bubbly. Yeah, I never knew. You see, I don't really. I haven't. I know that exists, but I don't know the flavors. Like I know everybody got crazy over La Croix or LaCroix, whatever you want to call it. But here's the thing about those types of sparkling waters, especially La Croix. Yeah, they have the pamplemousse, which is supposed to be grapefruit and have all these other flavors. But when you look on the back, there's nothing. Let's say if they had a mango flavored one, it's natural flavors. There's no mango in it. Come on, I need to see, mango in it. Oh, and I tried another product. I'm going to be a shill, and I'm actually going to reach out to them too to see if they have any. To see if they have any partnerships. I couldn't think of the word. Wow, the mix of this is, oh my God. Dangerous. Is anybody ever heard of Sunboy? It's a spiked coconut water. And with that, so let's say if you want mango or passion fruit, Miles, mango or passion fruit, it's a thing where it's in the vein of all these like seltzers and all these iced teas that are coming out, like the hard iced teas. But yeah, that's something I tried one last night. It's really good. Now, here's the one thing that I'm worried about. Like at the end, it does have natural flavors, but if you get a mango, it has mango puree or passion fruit puree. This isn't anything that's concocted by natural flavors to taste like mango or to taste like pineapple or whatever. But the one thing I'm curious about, it's a spiked coconut water, so it has alcohol, but it doesn't tell you what kind of alcohol it has. It's not vodka. I would guess it's vodka, but I think it's really good. Some boy sounds like nutcrackers. They're not. It's actually a brand. You can find it at Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and another store. What is she up to? I gotta watch out for her. Oh, let me see the The novice I know sent me that. I appreciate that. Yeah, here it is. Oh, the magnesium and organic stevia, apple hibiscus. Wow. Hey, what are you doing? Don't do that. Check that out. No, good stuff, Donavis. Thank you. No, I never heard about that until today. Today's the first day I've heard about that. Interesting. Some boy sounds like nutcrackers. Yes, I can. I can, Val. That was what? 2 weeks ago? Turned 22? 29th. What's today? 17th? 16th? All right, let's see what we got in sports, and then I'll sign off. Anything else happened in the last hour? I'm sure you guys would have kept me abreast, or Val would have sent something. I know Val's always on X. Yeah, she's already starting here. She's like, all right, when are you going to finish? Because I want to play. Kids, that is. Oh, Chase Burns signed a 7-year, $105 million extension with the Reds. Yeah, I know he's had a big year, too. All right. Oh, hang on, kids. Give me 2 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, expanded NHL season. I didn't talk about that. The opening night. I touched on it briefly yesterday. Well, we'll see. Yeah, Hurricanes, Panthers, Rangers, Bruins, Blackhawks, Vegas. Yeah, I know the All-Star Weekend is at UBS, Long Island. NHL has 3 outdoor games, starting with the Winnipeg Jets hosting Montreal on October 25th. Utah hosts Colorado in the Winter Classic. And that's on New Year's Eve. Oh, because I think New Year's Day they're doing the college football playoff. University of Utah and Dallas will host Vegas at Jerry's World. Hurricanes Golden Knights have their Stanley Cup rematch in Vegas on December 21st. That's the first game. All right. I hear you, kids. Yeah, hang on. All right, so that's your NHL. But no, other than that, that's what you got in sports, people. All right. Yep, there you go. Right on cue there, Bio. Yes. Agreed. NFL games. I know. I haven't even thought about that. And I know J-Rod isn't here because I know we got to talk about that Michigan UCLA game, which is almost 4 months from now. It'll be before you know it. Yeah, and I know. And the next day is Pittsburgh, Philly, in Philly. I don't know. I haven't given a lot of thought. Maybe I should start doing so. What about you, the novice? Is Philly and Tampa this year? I think they are, right? Let's see. Eagles schedule. Oh, this laptop is burning. No, I don't want that. Hold on. Oh, at New England in week 2, huh? Wait, you guys play the... Hold on a second. Oh, that's preseason. That's what I was going to say. Wait a minute. You guys are at... What's it called? Commanders at Tennessee, at Chicago, Rams, Jacksonville. We have 3 straight home games, huh? Oh, no, one of those games is... Oh, yeah. That's in London. I was going to say... I was like, wait, you guys got 4 straight home games? Giants by... Yeah, the Steelers on the 22nd, Dallas, Arizona. Wait, but who's the team you play in the South? Who won the South last year? Oh, Carolina did, not Tampa. That's right. That's right. And Carolina's going to Philly then, right? Yep. Interesting. I have to wait until game time comes out for that Michigan UCLA. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. That better be 1 o'clock. That better not be 8 o'clock. Tennessee Jaguars on London, other 2 players. Yeah. Oh, so you're going to both of those? Yeah, Tennessee. Did I see that was a week 2 or something? Yeah. No, it's at Tennessee. Oh, so you're going to maybe drive? Yeah, then they have the Bears. Yeah, Commanders at home. And then you have, at Bears, at Rams, Jacksonville, Carolina, Dallas. Arizona, Indy, Seattle, Houston, Niners. You play a lot of your division games in the first half of the year, which is good. I see what the Giant game is at Giants, because prior to that, after your bye, it's Pittsburgh, at Dallas, at Arizona, Indianapolis, Seattle, Houston, at San Francisco, and then the Giants. So, wow, you play all your division games before the bye. That's good. Thank you, Val. All right. I think that will do it, my good peeps. Yeah, so I don't know which games, the novice. We definitely got to connect on that. Sooner than later, or pretty soon. So, all right, I'll wrap it up, people, and then I'll get your comments in the back end. Another episode just on the books. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, carving out precious time out of your day to listen to what it is I have to say about the Toy Department of Life Coach Sports. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button there on YouTube, as I'm 7 subscribers away from 1,300 and trying to get those watch hours up, which means tomorrow I'm going to try to I will get there, but hopefully I got enough service to where I'll be outside of Yankee Stadium on a live stream there. And maybe even Saturday, I know there's going to be more people get to the Javits Center to do the Fanatics Fest. I haven't got my ticket yet, and I know they're about 95% sold out, so I got to keep you guys posted on that. But yes, please subscribe. Apple, Spotify, throw me a few stars, write a review, as well as, of course, YouTube. I would greatly appreciate that, especially for those who are watching this recorded. And if you haven't done so, or if you need to reach out in any way, shape, or form with a question, comment, suggestion, etc., you could do so at the following: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the J Reels Podcast, or just J Reels on Instagram, Twitter, J Reels1, just a number, Twitch, J Reels1, just a number, or the old-fashioned way, the J Reels Podcast at gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you guys and gals, because whether you do or do not know, this is what I love to do. Talking sports is birth, in the blood, in the DNA, as you already know. And as long as I sit in front of this microphone and camera, and I apologize for yesterday because for whatever the reason, that kind of was a bumpy landing and whatever, but hopefully today was a lot better. Here we were talking about health and watermelon and coconut juice and all that, or coconut water, I should say. But this is why I'm forever grateful to those who've been following me, whether it's my day ones or if it's your first day, as I will continue, as long as I'm in front of this camera and microphone, to deliver nothing but passion, fire, energy, fury, my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on all of the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are, the J Reels Podcast always comes correct, direct, and in full effect. From the South Bronx, the South Beach, the South Central, the South Pacific, and all points beyond, peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the weekend. Stay cool wherever you may be. We'll reconnect Monday or tomorrow, somewhere in the afternoon, Eastern time, between, say, 3 and 6, as I'll be outside Yankee Stadium. But again, appreciate all the love and support. Until next time, on the flip, baby. But before I do that, let me see any comments. Hold on. Oh, is that right? Rams at Raiders Vegas. Oh, nice. Bio, have you been to that stadium? I think you've answered that. Yes, Val, go sports. Oh, look at this. Val, where are you? Yeah, and I know that the future A Stadium is also, I know it's where the old Tropicana is, but where is that in proximity to where Allegiant Stadium is? That I'd like to know. Oh my God, forget it. All right. Yeah, real quick. What's the Rams schedule? Rams. You host the Giants Monday night, at Denver, at Philly. Rams at Denver. That's week 3. All right, at Philly, Buffalo. Wow. All right, you can take the Giant game out. Those first 4 games are no joke. San Francisco and Australia. Giants at home. At Denver, at Philly, and then home to Buffalo. And look at that. 4 of your first 5 games are on, obviously they're all night games. 2 ESPN ABC games, an NBC, and then a Netflix. And then you got Arizona, then the Vegas game, 4:25. Then you host the Chargers at Washington, at Arizona, Green Bay, Netflix, Kansas City, Prime. At San Francisco, Dallas, at Seattle, at Tampa. Wow. Those last 5 games, 6 games, 7 games. Green Bay, Kansas City, at San Francisco, Dallas, at Seattle, at Tampa, Seattle. Whew. That's a killer end to the schedule. Uh-oh. Too busy. Is Val, watch? I bet you watch Mark. He's in the room. He hasn't said anything. Well, Mark, if you haven't said anything, come on. That's why I'm putting these comments up. Anyway. All right, guys. I appreciate you all, as you know. Where did oh, you did ask that earlier, Val. I don't know. Miles has disappeared. Haven't seen Miles in a while. Don't know where he's at or what he's been up to. Hopefully, we'll find out sometime soon. And he's out of school. Unless he's in summer school, I don't know. But anyway. Much appreciate you all. You know the deal. Look out for me tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll get through. Hopefully, I get enough signal, because with all those people out there, it could be murder. I remember tried doing that back in April, and it was tough. But, yeah, but be on the lookout. Hopefully, I'll pop up tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Thanks again. Until next time, on the flip.